Okay, so good evening. Today I will be talking about the second critical thinking, reading, thinking, and writing skill. It's called synthesizing text. So as you recall, previously I lectured on what analyzing text is. So that's what really one very significant and important critical writing skill. The other remaining skill that's very important is also interpreting text, which you do a lot of. But today we'll be focused on an equally powerful critical writing skill called synthesizing text. What exactly is synthesizing text? Well, let me take you back to the word synthesizer to our earlier music history. What exactly was a synthesizer in music when you go to a music studio? It was basically an instrument or basically a piece of equipment that can basically simulate or play the sounds basically simulate the sounds of different instruments, right? So you basically may have a drum machine program, in that same program, that same computer can also imitate bass and uh, percussion and other instrumentation to basically make it sound like a band is actually playing or a music band is playing, but actually in reality it's just a computer program going. So a synthesizer basically synthesizes or actually takes a number of different musical instruments and their sounds and puts them all together. Basically, one program can basically play all these sounds. So that's a synthesizer. It's actually basically linking many different things into one computer. But synthesizing is a critical writing skill, maybe a little bit less interesting, but actually very powerful. Is actually what can we do to synthesize? So when I ask you to synthesize text, or synthesize, or maybe later when I ask you to in your homework to synthesize, pick a Gene Anion quote or a piece of reading, just like Michael Moore, and basically synthesize it, write a paragraph that shows your synthesis skills. What do I mean by that? What synthesizing is basically linking, is basically connecting or linking ideas, and that's all English language is. All English language is basically just connecting words, connecting ideas, connecting sentences together, connecting ideas together, connecting concepts. So basically, English language gains its meaning when you connect ideas together. So you have to be able to connect multiple different things together and see some of the similarities, differences, some things are similar, some things are different, but be able to relate different things, seemingly different things to each other. So that's what synthesis is. And then once you can do that, it's a very powerful skill. We may do that naturally in our lives, but sometimes to do that in writing, it may be difficult because maybe sometimes we're not encouraged to do that, or maybe we don't really know how to do that. But it's actually a very powerful thing if you actually be a synthesizer, right? And again, keep an open mind as you learn these different skills, right? Because basically, say if you're a really good interpreter of text or you're really great analyzer of text, how would that sound though if you write a 10-page essay and you're really more analytical, rather you basically just give the same different examples, but they're all of an analytical nature, right? It shows the analytical part of your mind. It might not be as interesting, right? Because maybe your essay is not varied, right? So it may be a great essay, but it could be better because maybe you show a variety of skills, right? Basically some of the people we admire in sports, they can play like a basketball player who can play offense, defense, who can dribble, who can shoot free throws. We admire those because those people are very versatile. So if you can learn a different skill and actually incorporate it in your writing, that's all the more power to you. That will give you another arsenal to actually give different types of examples to support your contentions in your essays. But what exactly is synthesizing text? So again, it's basically connecting or linking ideas. Linking or connecting ideas. Linking or connecting ideas is basically what it is, relating ideas to each other. You can do synthesizing in different ways. Again, you want to have your critical thinking sheet that describes the skills out that I put in your essay one, also in your Rereading America handout. Early part of the handout has that chart too, and also one of your homework assignments has that chart too. There are many different ways to synthesize, so let me go through them. One thing you can do is basically connect like a text, like your Gene Anion article, to your life, connect it to your life, right? So again, you can see right there, because maybe some teachers say they forbid you, right? You can't give examples that show your life, right? Because it's just you there, right? So it's not valid, right? But again, when you do academic essays, you had to have varied writing. You had to have varied examples. You had to use different types of examples, many many ideas to keep your reader interested and to convince your reader, right? So if you just kind of tend to write in one way, you may not interest your reader, right? You may have convinced them. You might be on your way to convincing them, but you don't maintain their interests. That may hold you back, right? So you want to be able to connect reading to your life. So don't I don't mind if you use I. Some teachers may say, oh, you can't use I in your essay. It doesn't sound professional, right? But I don't mind that because you have to personalize. You actually read a lot of academic books. a lot of academic articles, or actually a lot of great books by professors and so forth. They use the word I too, because they actually incorporate their own lives, and actually adds a bit of interest to their writing. So again, don't see it as a forbidden concept, because you have professors and people winning awards writing books incorporating the word I there too, right? So again, don't be afraid to do that, because there's nothing really forbidden, because you have basically award-winning authors who had to publish acclaimed books, and they use the word I there too, right? But again, if you don't want to use I, say if your teacher says, oh, you can't use I, you can still use use that concept. You just say like like one who does this or something like that. You can substitute the word I for like one who does this, right? So you kind of adjust it around, right? But then again, it's a valid concern. Some teachers just don't like you use I. It may not sound professional too, but then again, there are ways around that. But for this class, I don't really mind if you use that, because if you show your passion in your writing, it basically that's all the better, right? I want to see your passion in your writing, and your writing to be longer. So you can basically connect text. So that's the first thing. Again, review. Connect text to your life or the lives of others. So that's number one. You can connect like a piece of text, like Onion or the More article, anything in the Onion or More article, or the Soto article. Connect any of that text to anything in your life or the lives of others, right? So you can say, oh, well, I was never poor. I was never homeless, right? But you may know of people homeless, or you may know of others who are homeless. You can still incorporate their lives and connect your text to their lives. Another thing to synthesize, number two, is to connect text to other texts, right? So you can connect the More article to the Onion article too, right? So any like More Idiot Nation article, you can connect that to maybe the working class students who are actually not really idiots, but actually they're taught in a way where the teachers treat them like they're idiots in a sense, right? So you can actually connect the Michael Moore article to the Gene Onion article there too. So I just what I did there, right? I actually connected two seemingly unrelated articles and connected that idiot idea to each other. You can connect your text to other parts of the same text, right? So you can connect Michael Moore's main point or his thesis statement to one of his main points, or you can connect, say, Jean Annion's thesis statement to one of her main points or to another main point, or you can connect one main point of Jean Annion's to another main point, or connect a Jean Annion main point to an example, right? So you can see that little sequence, right? You can actually connect different examples from different main points together, or you can actually merge one part of the text to another part, right? You can say, oh, as I was reading this, it reminds me of this part. So that's why it's good to annotate, right? Because you can't remember all this stuff. So basically, you see your essay one, where I'm saying, oh, you actually had to incorporate two other rereading America articles into your Glass Castle article, and actually relate those rereading America articles to your Glass Castle thesis statement, right? So say, as you're going through your rereading America articles, you can note, say, if you're reading the rereading America article, how maybe some part of it reminds you of the Glass Castle family, right? Like the working class schools, right? Maybe Jeanette Walls encountered these working class students who actually resent her, right? They actually resent her knowing too much, right? The working class students may be uncomfortable, right? Oh, this person knows a lot more than we do, right? And we're just used to following rules, or just following what the teacher says, right? So these working class students suddenly get mad at Jeanette, who's actually showing executive elite talents, right? So basically, you want to note in your annotations your connections, right? So note where rereading America articles relate to your Glass Castle essay. So then later, when you're typing up your Glass Castle essay draft or final, you actually have your little notes there, your little annotations that show the connections. So you actually already started your essay already. Okay. So another thing is actually you can connect text to basically other media. Other media like TV, radio, internet, movies, music, and so forth. So you can connect the text you have to other media. So basically, you can actually talk about how Jean Annion's book, right, or her article about working class schools, you can connect that to some of those famous movies about some of the students who are actually trapped in some of those neighborhoods where the teaching is not that great, right? But they kind of rise above that, right? They actually have a great teacher who helps bring out their talents, right, and treats them right, and actually kind of equips them with some of those executive elite education, so they actually learn a lot. Those students, right? So basically, you can connect something as similar as supposedly dual as a Jean Annion article. You can connect her article to a very famous Hollywood movie like Dangerous Minds or Freedom Riders, right? In that way, because you can see how if the teacher is really stifling on the students, it can actually affect the students' well-being and also their academic development too. and vice versa. If a teacher is really encouraging and they really push their students really creatively, that student can really develop, right? And synthesis generally conceptually means to take two ideas, two separate ideas, one idea here, combine them together to make a totally new idea, right? So basically, if you want a solution to a problem, you can take maybe one person's solution, another person's solution, merge them together, and maybe make a hybrid solution or like combined solution, which will make both sides happy, but it will actually work better than any separate solution, right? So basically, you can take two ideas. You can take the best ideas of one educational reform theory, the best ideas of another educational reform theory, link them together and make a new theory of your own, where you're maybe trying to help special education students and basically make a new school of thought or a new theory to help you, right? So that's synthesis. Conceptually, it's basically taking different ideas, combining them together, merging them, and making a new idea. Synthesis is also related to analysis in a sense. Like, remember analysis? I was telling you about how you're analyzing separate parts. I say you're analyzing parts of the Gibson speech. Like in these conversations, sometimes spark is kindled, which henceforth narrows itself. So maybe I was encouraging you just to analyze those separate words. But then if you analyze stuff, right, you need to you still need to reassemble all this stuff to make it meaning, right? So if I say analyze the Raider football team, or analyze the hockey team, or analyze the Brazilian soccer team, right, to see their strengths and weaknesses, the national team, right, the team together, right. If I asked you to do that, you could say, oh, okay, maybe this team for advance, some other team, I don't know what national team it is, but it could be like Team USA, right? They could actually be strong midfielders. They can have strong midfielders, but they have weak wing or what forward positions who are supposed to score the goals. They can have really strong goalie. They can have strong defender positions, strong midfielders, right? But if they're very weak in scoring, that could if it's that weak, if you combine all the elements together, it could actually make them a weaker team, a much weaker team as a whole, right? So basically, even though the separate parts, maybe there are a lot of strong parts, if they're very weak in key areas, like if a team was very weak in key areas like quarterback in an NFL or running back, that can actually drag the whole team down. So basically, synthesizing means reconnecting the parts, reassembling the parts, basically connecting the parts together and reassembling them and coming up with some kind of whole idea, right? So that's really important. So analysis, you get into the weeds. Synthesis, you reassemble the parts. As you're talking, some of you may be thinking, oh, this is all really similar, right? Actually, if I write a paragraph, I can be doing synthesizing, I could be analyzing, I could be interpreting, I could be evaluating, I could be doing all this together. Yes, you could actually be doing it together. And maybe within a single sentence, you could be analyzing and synthesizing. The human mind is so powerful. Language is so powerful. You can actually be interchangeably doing this together. You could be merging these ideas, maybe doing partial. So again, these terms are taught separately, like synthesizing, analysis, but really they're all kind of mixed together. There's like these are in whole, they're like a unified critical thinking model that someone uses together, right? So basically, you could be using all these skills, right? But again, it's good to focus on individual skills. Sometimes like, I need to be more of a synthesizer, right? Because synthesizer, if you're not, maybe you may think you're not a strong synthesizer because if you're not good at writing research essays, because research essays is like your ultimate synthesis essay, where you have to take what multiple sources, multiple texts, link them together with maybe a couple of primary texts you have, link all that together like a primary text, like the Danticott book, or basically that we're going to read later, or the Walls book. Link multiple sources together, link the multiple sources to your primary text, connect them all together, like synthesize them together, and actually make a coherent thesis statement and basically support it. That's like your research essay. You have to be really good at synthesizing, right? So again, you can't really say, well, I'm good at interpreting and analyzing. You have to be good at synthesizing. You just can't help. You must be good at synthesizing, or you must develop your synthesizing skills in order to progress. I think you really need to develop your analytical skills. One needs to develop their analytical skills, their synthesizing skills, and later, as we talk more, their interpretive skills, because I know a lot of you are used to interpreting, right? Like, what is the meaning of writing? What is the meaning of what I just read? You'll have to do a lot of that. But synthesizing is very important. I want to get your thoughts too, right? Because sometimes I'm kind of surprised when I ask what the students are, do you do a lot of synthesizing your essay? Some say, oh, no, I'm not really used to doing synthesizing. This is kind of a new way of doing it, right? But I'm kind of thinking, right, it should be really focused on. It should be really focused on. It should be really focused on. It really should be really focused on for you to do that. Okay. So those are synthesis. You'll have a chance to take a piece of Jane Anion writing and be able to synthesize it, just like you did your Michael Moore reading, Michael Moore writing there. So until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye.